Yes, 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 my people. It's your boy Kizzy Talk Sports, but you can call me Kizzy. You get me? Listen, I can't lie. I thought I'd do another little top five, but this one's a little piece. This one's a little bit different. You get me? Yeah. This one is the top five most under pressure players at the 2026 World Cup. Yeah. Something a little different. We done the top five young players to look out for. I think it was yesterday or the day before. I can't really remember. It was man's birthday yesterday and whatnot. So obviously, how it goes. But listen, um, yeah. So this is my top five most under pressure players at the World Cup. And when I mean under pressure, I mean in terms of players that need this World Cup in terms of putting their name back in a positive light. It's not necessarily saying that they're in a bad place or whatever else, but I think there's a few players in world football that I think this World Cup has probably come at the right time for them. Yeah, in terms of getting their name back out there. A lot of players have been more or less rubbished. You get what I'm trying to say? And I feel like there's a few players out there that really could do with this World Cup. It's come at the perfect time for them, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So this is no particular order. This ain't ranked or whatever. This is just my top five players that are probably under the most pressure to perform at this World Cup. Starting with the boy Rafael Leao. Yeah. Rafael Leao, Portuguese international, coming off the back of a very poor season with AC Milan. Massimiliano Allegri playing him out of position, playing him in the 9, playing him in the 10. That's not where we want to see Rafael Leao. Rafael Leao is a left winger. And when he's at the top of his game, he's a bad boy left winger. Do you understand? So I think this World Cup, I'm hearing that he wants to leave AC Milan. There's been a lot of rumours. Fenerbahce, Galatasaray, Man United, Barcelona. I even see Arsenal reports. How true they are, I don't know. But I think if there's one player that could do with a great World Cup to put his name back in the limelight, put some more clout back on his name, because I feel like when people talk about Rafael Leao now, people talk about this guy that's meant to be a scrub. Rafael Leao is no scrub. He's a player going through a bad moment right now. Yeah, he's in a bad patch of form, and I think a World Cup, a good World Cup campaign could really, really do him the world of good in it. Like when I look at his previous 2, 3 seasons, don't get me wrong, he will always get output. He will always get output just because of his attributes. And when he's on, he's a top player. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But I think going into this World Cup, the fact that he's being linked with Fenerbahce and Galatasaray should tell you where he's at the minute. Because this guy 2, 3 years ago was linked with some of the best clubs in world football. And that's no disrespect to Fenerbahce or Galatasaray. But the fact that he's being linked with Fenerbahce and Galatasaray should tell you how low his levels have dropped. Because 2, 3 years ago, you could never link this guy to Fenerbahce or Galatasaray, bro. And that's no disrespect to them Turkish clubs, but 2, 3 years ago, their name would never even have been near the conversation. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I think him going to this World Cup this summer, Portugal, possibly one of the favourites. It's arguable, you know what I'm saying? People have their opinions, but I think Rafael Leao could be a big part of what Portugal do this summer if they are to go far in the tournament. And this is what I'm saying. I think he is one player in world football right now that probably the World Cup couldn't have come at a better time for him, especially when he's a want-away player at AC Milan. So if he goes to the World Cup and he performs, then he'll have loads of people knocking on the door again. You know what I mean? Just because of the player that he is. His name still is don't get me wrong, he's still got clout on his name, but I just feel like the fact that he's been linked with Galatasaray and Fenerbahce should tell you everything. Give me 2 secs. Give me 2 secs, chat. But no, yeah, sorry. My second player, yeah. Now people might look at me and say, "Oh, he doesn't need his name," but I just think with all the noise that's going around with his football club at the minute, and it's just when I look at this player, he doesn't need it, but I think in terms of himself coming off the back of a good World Cup, people might have different opinions. Yeah, that player being Kylian Mbappe. Yeah, just won Real Madrid Player of the Season for the second year in a row. Yeah. For some reason, you've got Madrid fans over, I think it was like something crazy, like over 30 million Madrid fans signed a petition to get him out of the club. Whether they're all 30 million of Madrid fans, I don't know. But the fact that there's over 30 million people signing a petition to get you out of a football club is completely crazy to me, yeah? And don't get me wrong, Real Madrid haven't won trophies since Mbappe's gone there. But Mbappe's done what he's meant to do in coming to Real Madrid, and that's score goals. Mbappe's done his job. So I wouldn't really look too much into it. People say, "Oh, yeah, they link up with Vinny and all of this and all." Bro, when a man's scoring goals, yeah, I don't understand what the problem is. You brought him in to score goals, he's scoring goals. Then people want to talk about, "Oh, yeah, but Vinny this, and now Vinny can't get into the..." Bro, this is the whole point of being top players. When you build elite teams, yeah, don't get me wrong. There's some teams that, you know, when there's too many chefs in the kitchen, someone needs to cut. But at Real Madrid, that's what Real Madrid are about. There's always a bag of chefs in that kitchen. Always, yeah? And this is what I'm saying. If Real Madrid can find a balance from defense to attack, I don't think they'd be talking the way they are talking about Mbappe at the minute. But the fact that they're not winning any trophies, yeah, is probably one of the main reasons why they're on Mbappe the way they're on him, pause, yeah? Because before he got there, they was winning trophies, Champions Leagues, whatever. I get it. But the man's done his job since he's come there. Do you get what I'm trying to say? He's done his job. So, me personally, I'm a big fan of Mbappe. I think Mbappe is a top player. Arguably one of the greatest players we've seen. And he's still playing the game. And it's crazy to say that. But it's the truth. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I don't think there's been many players like him where, you know, outside of maybe a Messi or a Ronaldo or even like, I don't know, man, Zlatan. These players for me are killers in front of goal. And that's exactly what Mbappe is. He's a killer. Yeah? He is a killer. The man scored a hat-trick in the Champions League final. Sorry, not in the Champions League final, in the World Cup final in his last World Cup. Yeah, they come up short, but I think he's the only player since Jeff Hurst in 1966 for England to score a hat-trick in a World Cup final. So not many players do that. You get me? You have to be some player to score a hat-trick in a World Cup final. And not only did he score a hat-trick, but they come from 2-0 down. Do you understand? So this guy is a player that you can count on in the big moments. We all know about Mbappe. That's the reason why he's at Real Madrid. But for me, when I look at Mbappe, based off the 2 seasons that he's had at Madrid, yeah, cool, individually, been brilliant seasons. But as a collective, it's not been good enough. So I think him going into this World Cup, if he can go into this World Cup and set it alight, I think he'll be going back to Real Madrid next season in a much better place, in a much better mood, and probably a much better environment. Because when I look at Real Madrid, they've just signed Jose Mourinho down. Well, it looks like they're going to sign Jose Mourinho down to become the new manager. They've got in Denzel Dumfries. They've got in Kanate. They're looking for a new centre-back. And the reports are that they're going to drop a 150 million euro bid down for Michael Elise of Bayern Munich. Yeah. So at the end of the day, if he can go to the World Cup, set it alight, and come back, and Real Madrid are in a better place, all bodes well for Real Madrid, innit? Moving on to my third player. My third player is another Real Madrid player. And this player is arguably one of the most controversial players in world football in terms of some people like him, some people don't like him. Some people like the way that he shows himself, and some people don't. Some people call it arrogance and they don't like it. That player being, for me, Jude Bellingham. I think Jude Bellingham going into this World Cup is another player who over the last season has probably had his name dragged through dirt by Madrid fans, English media, English fans. Me personally, I rate Jude Bellingham. You know what I'm saying? There's some people that don't rate him. They say a lot of things about Jude Bellingham. But for me, this is another player that, in the big moments, you can count on him. You get me? And I think he's only, 22, 23, something like that. He's still young, so young, and he's so experienced, yeah? And I think, if I'm being completely honest, I think he's one of England's main players now. Like, he's probably been one of England's main players for the last year or two. But I think going into this World Cup, he is one of the main players in terms of leadership, in terms of experience at the top level, in big moments, big finals. You get what I'm trying to say? And I think Jude Bellingham, for me, needs to be looking at this World Cup and saying to himself, this is my time. Yeah? This is my time. This is where I put England on my back and I take us to our first World Cup since 1966. Because don't get me wrong, I know people will say, yeah, Harry Kane, he scored over 60 goals this season. I hear it. But when you got a man like Harry Kane dropping into the defensive midfielder position in this Tuchel system, like what he does at Bayern Munich, I don't know if Harry Kane's going to score that many goals. I'll be real. And if Harry Kane's going to do that, the best player for me that you could play in the number 10 that makes them box crashing runs is your man JB5, Jude Bellingham. It's as simple as that. If Tuchel's going to play the way of letting Harry Kane roam free and let him do what he wants, drop into the pockets, drop deep. I watched the England-New Zealand game yesterday, and I'm seeing Harry Kane deeper than Elliot Anderson. I'm seeing Harry Kane deeper than Jordan Henderson. That's not where I want to see my striker. But at the end of the day, if that's the way that Thomas Tuchel's going to play, then he needs to be playing Jude Bellingham in the 10. Because at the end of the day, if Harry Kane's going to drop in the pockets, drop deep like that, the best box crasher that you've got in your team is Jude Bellingham. So for me, I think Jude Bellingham this summer could set the World Cup alight. I think he needs to. You get me? Not only for himself, but for the English fans to actually, because see what it is with England fans, yeah? And I'll say this. We're very fickle. You get me? People will talk shit about people, and then as soon as they score a goal, he's the best thing since sliced bread. So what I'm trying to say to you is for me, as an England supporter myself, I'm looking at Jude Bellingham, I'm saying to myself, no Cole Palmer, no Phil Foden, Morgan Rogers is there, Eze is there. This is your time to shine, bro. This is your time to shine. Out of all three of them number 10s that I've just mentioned, Bellingham, Rogers, and Eze, Bellingham is at the best club, Real Madrid. He's the most experienced in big moments. Yeah? This is your time to shine, my bro. This is your time to say to the world, my name's Jude Bellingham, and I'm him for a reason. Do you understand? It's literally that. Yeah? I think Jude Bellingham, if I'm Jude Bellingham, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, yo, this World Cup's my World Cup. You get me? It's as simple as that. This is my World Cup. I know he had a good few moments at the Euros, and this is what I'm saying. This bodes well for him because every international tournament that I've seen him go to for England, he's played well. Do you get me? But I don't think he's necessarily had a tournament where he said, yo, I'm the guy. You get me? Harry Kane is always that guy, but I think if Harry Kane is going to play the way that I've seen him been playing under Tuchel and for Bayern, which it looks like Tuchel's going to allow him to do, I think you have to be playing Jude Bellingham in a 10 to make them box crashing runs, because no one can do it better than him in world football for me. Jude Bellingham, with them late box crashes, he scored 20 goals like that, more or less. Or at least 15 of his 20 goals that he scored in La Liga in his first season were more or less box crashing runs. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Late box crashing runs, and he's just somehow he always ends up on the end of things, and you can't teach that. You've either got it or you ain't. Do you know what I mean? It's as simple as that. So obviously, that's my third player. My fourth player. Now this might be a bit controversial in terms of people will say he doesn't really need to have a good tournament. You know, he is who he is. But again, it's another Real Madrid player. Vinicius Jr. Yeah? Vinny, probably the poster boy for Brazil at the minute. Let's be honest. You get me? But I think in a Brazil shirt, he flatters to deceive. I'll be so real. I think in the Brazil shirt, I wouldn't say he stinks, but he could do a lot better. A lot better. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think this is another player that when I've seen him go to the World Cup for Brazil, what has he done? Do you know what I'm saying? He's a frustrating player, Vinny, at sometimes. Like one game, he'll look like a world beater. And then the next game, he can't get into the game and he's throwing his arms about, like tantrums and whatever else. And listen, I know there's a lot of controversy around Vinny. I don't agree with the racism stuff. You know what I'm saying? No player should receive racism for dancing and celebrating goals. What are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? That should never be happening in football. No one should. Racism shouldn't be in football. Full stop. It's as simple as that. You get me? Because some of these fans' favorite players for their own club are black. So for you to be being racist to other black players is absolutely mental to me. Because some of your favorite players that play for your club are black. So if you're racist to them, that obviously means that you don't rate your favorite players for your own club. Because you can't be racist to one black man, and then because you got a black guy in your team that don't make you racist. It don't work like that. You get me, yeah? But moving on from that, because I don't even want to get into the politics and all of that. I want to keep it football, yeah? I think Vinny Jr., I know Neymar's come back into the fold or whatever, but for me, if I'm Brazil and I'm Vinny Jr., this is my team. Respect to Neymar, legend, all of that. But this is the new gen, bro. This is my team, and this is what I'm trying to say. Vinny Jr. needs to have a great World Cup. A great World Cup. Because I'm telling you now, it's not even about him, his Real Madrid form or whatever. We know who he is. We know what he's about for Real Madrid. But in a Brazil shirt, he's not the same player. You get me? And with Ancelotti coming in, his former Real Madrid manager, you know, we know the stories. He loved playing for Carlo. Carlo had him playing his best game. He allowed him to do things that maybe, you know, regimented coaches wouldn't allow him to do. You know what I'm saying? Carlo Ancelotti allows him to go out and express himself. You know what I'm saying? So when I look at that, there's no reason for why Vinny Jr. shouldn't be brocking up this World Cup. You get me? Because you've got everything in your favor now. Yeah? Ancelotti's your manager at Brazil. Yeah? There's no excuse for you to be going into this World Cup and coming out of it with a distasteful performance or performance as a whole in terms of the whole World Cup, because everything's in your favor, my boy. Brazil, you look like you've got a decent team, a semi-decent team. Do you get what I'm trying to say? You got a Gabriel and Marquinhos partnership, you know, both Champions League finalists. One won it, one lost it. Yeah? You got one of the best goalkeepers in world football in Alisson, in between the sticks. You got some quality midfielders. You got some quality wingers. And you've got some quality strikers. You get me? So there's no reason for why Vinny Jr. should not be performing at this World Cup. It's as simple as that. Vinny Jr. needs to perform for Brazil if Brazil are going to do anything in this World Cup this summer. Yeah? And my last player is a German player. And I think with me saying German player, I think you know where I'm going to go with this. My fifth and final player who I think is under the most pressure to perform at the 2026 World Cup is Florian Wirtz. Florian Wirtz coming off a... What's the best way to explain it? Florian Wirtz coming off the back of a semi-poor season. You get me? Not even semi-poor. He's coming off the back of a poor season with Liverpool. I'm not even going to try and keep it PG or whatever. He's been shit. Yeah? Florian Wirtz has been absolutely shit. Yeah? So when these Liverpool fans tell you that, oh yeah, but the second half of it, no, bro. When you spend £130 million on a player or £115 million, whatever it was, it broke the British record transfer fee, yeah? When you pay that type of money for a player, you expect big things, yeah? You don't expect bit part moments. You don't expect him to be a bit part player. I think Florian Wirtz needs this World Cup. I think not only does he need this World Cup for himself, but I think he needs this World Cup in terms of there's a lot of people that put chips down on this guy to be an instant hit. And he's absolutely stunk the gaff out. You know what I'm saying? So I think if there's one player, I think, yeah, do you know what's so mad? I think he actually might be the most under pressure out of all five of the players that I've mentioned, because he went to Liverpool with a lot of clout, with a lot of clout. The four guys before him that I've mentioned, yeah, cool, they need to prove themselves, but man know what these men are on. I think Florian Wirtz, out of all five players that I've mentioned, I think he's the most under pressure one. I'm going to keep it so real. Like, I actually do, because when he was bought by Liverpool, people were saying he's one of the best creative 10s in the world. He's one of the best creative players in the world. He's one of the best pressing 10s in the world. All of this, one of the best. Bro, he showed none of that. He showed glimpses. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, when you're a quality player, you don't just lose all your quality. You're going to show glimpses or whatever else. I know Liverpool fans will tell me, yeah, but Gakpo couldn't finish. Salah couldn't. I don't want to hear all that shit. Because if it's for another player, you're not using that context. Yeah? It's as simple as that. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I think Florian Wirtz needs to have a good World Cup. It's as simple as that. Because not only do you need it for yourself, but I think going back into Liverpool next year with a good World Cup under his belt could possibly do him the world of good. Do you get me? If you come off the back of a bad season at Liverpool, and then you come off the back of a bad World Cup as well, and you're going into the new season, it don't look good for you, my boy. It does not look good for you, bro. It's as simple as that. Man went into Liverpool. Man's got the number 7 shirt. He's absolutely stunk it out. Stunk it out. Like, I'm not even capping, bro. Like, big man ting. Florian Wirtz is absolutely stunk. Yeah? So, and for me, I said the other day, Germany are one of my dark horses, yeah? I think that if they can find a good balance and they can get the right players in the right system, no one's talking about Germany, but they got the players to cause a real upset. And I'm looking at Florian Wirtz saying, yo, this is your moment, bro. Do you get me? You're probably the main guy now in this German national team. And I know he does perform well for Germany. I think that's probably why I'm saying he's under the most pressure as well, because he might not have played so well for Liverpool, but every time he goes away with the German national team, he either creates a good goal or he scores a good goal, or he's deciding the game. So what I'm trying to say to you is that's all good and well, you doing it in qualifiers and all of that. But when we get to the proper thing, you need to show out, bro. You get me? And this is what I'm saying. Florian Wirtz, for me, out of all 5 players that I've mentioned, is probably the most under pressure at this World Cup. And listen, Liverpool fans might not want to hear that. You might want to hear that because at the end of the day, I think him being under pressure could possibly help him. Because listen, I'm going to be so real, yeah? I don't think I've ever seen £100 million plus signing go under the radar for being so bad in all my years of watching football. Like, I've seen players cheaper than him get slandered way more than this guy, bro. Way more than this guy. Yoker has scored 21 goals in all competitions for Arsenal. These men are telling me that he's wearing Timberland boots. He's wearing jeans. The man's getting dragged through the dirt every week. This Florian Wirtz guy he's been let off. I'm gonna keep it so real. He's been let off. It's like his season's just gone under everyone's noses, and no one actually realizes that, yo, this guy cost 120 million. You get me? You can't be costing 120 million and basically having a season when you go under. Bro, your name should be up in lights, bro. Everyone should be talking about you. You get me? And they're not. It's literally that. You know what I mean? Liverpool paid 120 million for Florian Wirtz, and they could have paid 30 million for Cherki. And look who's being spoke about more now. Because it ain't Florian Wirtz, it's Ryan Cherki. So this is what I'm saying. For me, Florian Wirtz needs to look at this World Cup and say, yo, this is my time. You get me? Like the other 4 players I said, they've got to look at it and say, yo, this is my time. But for me, out of all 5 players, Florian Wirtz, my boy, you need this World Cup more than anyone. Like, no joke. You need this World Cup more than anyone, yeah? But listen, guys, that's my top 5 players under most pressure at the 2026 World Cup. Let me know yours in the comments, yeah? Subscribe, like the video, and listen, we'll be back later. All Bleed Red, episode 3, 7:45. Me, KJ, your boy Amido. And listen, it's been your boy KIZZY Talk Sports. I'm out.